Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. Now, before we start, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to checking this out. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, it helps a lot, and again, thank you. Have an incredible day or evening, depending where you are, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe. So, welcome everyone to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. For today, we have the incredible, the amazing, the super, the badass Olga here. Olga, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, what better way to start up the weekend to be talking with someone as epic as you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Now, also, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. It helps a lot. Also, make sure to leave a like. You're gonna definitely like this video if you haven't. If it is your first episode or the fifth, keep watching him. I appreciate that a lot. And without further more, let's get started. So, for those who don't know, for those who don't know who is incredible, amazing Olga, please tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Olga Korsak. I'm an actress. I'm a writer. I'm a singer-songwriter under the stage name Liva, Livva. So that's about it. I'm also a mom. I'm a single parent to almost a 2-year-old boy. So that's also on my list of achievements.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
So.
incredible. That's incredible. So you're basically doing everything.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah,
Trying to, yeah, juggle all the things at the same time.
fantastic. I mean, that's super badass. Let me just tell you that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And now let's go back in time here a little bit and tell me where the journey begins. Like what made, yeah, like how was everything started? Like what triggered it? Like how was it for you?
Acting? You mean
Hmm.
acting?
Yeah, let's start with acting.
Yeah, so that was a very funny story because music was always kind of my area of focus,
Okay.
and acting was not what I was actually pursuing or wanted to pursue. It's just about the 10 years ago, my friend told me, like, you know what, my friend just opened an acting agency. Why don't you just go and talk to him and maybe see maybe something you would be interested in? Um, and I responded, you know what, I don't think I am interested. I'm a singer, songwriter, and that's where I want to put all my efforts in. And she was like, you know what, acting and music are so close, maybe you can make a connections and make new friends. So it was more of a like, let's try, why not?
Mm-hmm.
And I met with an agent, and he ended up signing me even though I had no previous acting experience. And I started acting classes and going for auditions. And I remember when I booked my first part, it was just one line.
Yeah.
I had one line, and just being on set with all those people around. I think being on stage and performing so much singing gave me that freedom of like, oh my God, it's almost like being on a stage, like I felt so comfortable, like a fish in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I got hooked, and that's where we sat down with my first agent, and he was like, you know what, like you need to take a little bit more classes and you need to take dialect lessons. So that's where the journey of adding so many classes started. And things have really started to pick up last
Mm-hmm.
year, I would say 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So first 8 years, it was just nonstop auditioning, nonstop classes, one-liners, and being like, oh my God, I love it so much. And I'm so deep into this already, so I can't quit because I spent so much money on the classes and preparation. So I'm like, I have to keep going. And I'm the kind of person, if I started something, I have to finish, unless
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely don't like what I'm doing. But I was so into this that I was like, okay, I just need to keep fighting for bigger roles.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. And also like how everything started, like everything how started to develop, you know what I mean? That one thing led to another. That's pretty cool. And tell me about music, like about your music career, like how it started as well.
Well, music started way earlier. Back when I was in Latvia, I came to Canada was when I was 21. So I
Mm.
was singing, I was writing songs. but I didn't think that I'm actually a very good songwriter.
Okay.
I had a lot of people helping me back home to write the songs I was performing. But then when I came to Canada, one of the first jobs I got, I was working at the music store. And sometimes I would have so much free time during the day because there were not many customers that
Absolutely.
I would sit and I actually self-taught myself playing piano because that was just the perfect time for that, right? And also get inspired by so many great instruments around you. So I started writing, and then one song led to another. Later, I quit that job and I signed with small label I'm with right now with Global Music Entertainment. And yeah, and basically all my life that was the primary focus.
Yeah.
And somehow music and acting just kind of got together. And yeah, and now I can't even say what I like more or what am I focusing more because they both equally take equal amount of time from me, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, but but I find pretty, yeah, I find pretty cool the fact that you managed to, first starting with the music and then moving on later to the acting, and now that you have the two of them, you have one thing and the other one on your pocket, let's say. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're kind of feeding off each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, going back a little bit here, also with your acting career, tell me, like, what is your process when you're about to create a character?
My process first is to find as many details as I can about this character.
Okay.
And the details I don't know, I would need to come up with. Um, every single detail matters in forming the character, even what she likes to eat, what she likes to
Mm,
drink, what time
mm,
she goes to sleep. And next, I move to see what's her primary goal in a movie is. Is she actually gonna end up fulfilling, I can't even pronounce. Oh my God, some words. Fulfilling that goal.
yeah.
And if she will get her way, what would happen? Or if she doesn't get her way,
Mm,
what would
mm,
happen? And how would that make her feel? So I would
yeah.
answer all those questions first. And then a lot of people say character. I always think of the character I'm playing is I'm actually playing
Mm,
me
mm,
in a certain situation, you know?
mm,
And sometimes when I don't have enough details, I think, what would I do if I was that person? What would I do if, I don't know, my child get abducted, right? What would I do, right? And that would help me to form the character's
yeah.
objective.
I mean, at the end, you want to make it as relatable as possible, right? I mean, I think that's the ultimate goal, right? You want to make real, as that. So yeah, you want to make it as relatable as possible. As for example, you will see your character walking on the street, or going for a coffee or doing like that, right? You want to make that as real, let's say, as possible, right?
Yes, and also looking at the emotions, everybody is different, but still, if you're angry, right? You can be
Mm,
angry as Olga and you can be angry at that character, right? So
totally.
um, it's all about tuning in to that emotion and feel
Mm,
the anger, right?
yeah.
Um, rather than for me personally, I know everybody's different, every actor is different. I'm not thinking about, oh, this character would get angry like this.
Mm,
No, it's just for me, I need to find that emotion, I need to find that fear and the place where this fear or anger comes from, and then just sink it in.
absolutely. And excuse me. And going back also to your music career, how you managed to songwrite, like what usually inspires you for you to write a song?
Well, I'm just like so many artists, it's all personal experience. And I find it sometimes I do have writer's block is when actually nothing major happens in my life. You know, when it's
Yeah.
steady, there's no drama, there's no major roller coaster in my life. And sometimes I don't know what to write about because nothing happens. It's good, but then on the other side, for me, songwriting is like a therapy, you know, something
Mm,
would shook me up or bring certain emotions in me, and instead of going to my friend to
mm,
talk about it, which I also do, I would sit down and I would write about it,
mm,
and right away, like even next couple of moments after I finish my last sentence, I already feel relieved. You know, I
mm,
already feel
mm,
just, okay, all my emotions, all my fears, insecurities, whatever that triggered this particular situation, I put it on
yeah.
a paper and I feel like it's out of my system,
Mm,
and I just release the song and I move on, you know? So even unresolved issues, sometimes if I think about something too much or situation, or it appears in my dream over and over again, and I'm like, okay, I need to write a song about it, it means it's still somewhere in my system and it still bugged me.
mm,
Maybe it's not that important, but then I would feel it how someone can also be going through the certain
mm.
situation, and then just put it on a paper.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, I do think that music is basically expression,
Yes.
and it's pretty cool when you manage to, yeah, when you manage to talk about a specific emotion or something that happened to you, but you use those feelings to create something. That's pretty. I mean, I find the whole creative process on that pretty kind of real, unique. Making sure that everyone is different and everyone feels different at the same time, and if you can express that on a song, I find, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, now let's say that one day I call you and I tell you that I want to become either an actor or a musician. So, based on your
Mhm.
knowledge, what advice could you give to me, or like, what do you think that I should know before jumping into this career?
I think you need to understand if you really wanted
Yeah.
to be in it.
Okay.
Because music industry and acting industry are very hard industries.
Mm,
And it's always people are there for the long run, and also need to be very resilient and be okay with rejections.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Acting and music, it's always rejections. It's always, you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not good for our movie, you're not good for our playlist. Oh, your song doesn't sound this and that. So you
yeah.
need to be so tough-skinned in order to be in this business. And in the beginning, I didn't know that, and I was taking so close to my heart everything what people were saying, especially when people projecting their own insecurities and fears onto you, right?
Yeah.
And then you start thinking, oh my God, maybe they're right. And then you forget why you doing it in the first place. So I
Mm,
think you need to ask yourself, do I really love it that much that I'm okay to go through all this rejections, for all this tough journey, for all this learning, and from to go through all the bumps along the way? Is it worth it? Do I like it that
mm-hmm,
much? And if
mm-hmm.
the answer is yes, then you should start
You
your
should go.
journey, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'll take that into consideration. Perfect. Yeah. Now, like, what? Let's say one day Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, you name it. They call you and they tell you they have this idea, which goes that they're gonna basically make a film that describe your music and acting career, both of them. But that film needs a name. So how would you call it?
I don't know, dreams don't expire.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. All right. That's awesome. Now, tell me, what do you think is one of the reasons why someone, I mean, now that you mentioned rejection, I mean, nobody likes being rejected, of course. So
Mhm.
how you manage that feeling, like how you, like, what is the process you do in order to kind of get out of that toxic thought about the whole rejection part and continue moving forward on your day?
Well, for me, I adapted that position that every rejection gets me
Mm,
one step closer to being approved,
okay.
because it's a number game, you know. Every actor usually booked maybe every 20th, every 30th job,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Unless you're very, very good actor, you might be booking every 10th job, right?
Yeah.
So every time I get rejected, I actually get excited because I know that there is a certain amount of rejections
Hmm.
has to happen in order to get that email from your agent saying you booked it.
Yeah.
So this is actually was an advice from a friend a long time ago, and it really resonated with me. And I decided, you know what, it's actually such a good idea. And he's a business person, and at that time he was pitching ideas for different startups
Hmm.
and trying to find the money. And he always used to say, you know what, like I would get 20 ideas, I would start 20 different startups, but only one idea is good.
Yeah.
You dwell on the 19th ideas that are really bad, and you're like, damn it, they were really bad. There's only one. No, you focus on that one, and then you
Hmm.
find investors, and then you start making money out of it, and you forget about those 19 because they were a stepping stone to find that one good idea, right?
Hmm.
It's like with songwriting. I find sometimes I go in the studio and I write maybe 10, 15 completely shitty songs. Like they're really bad,
Yeah.
from music standpoint, from lyrical standpoint, but I need to get it out of my system because it's like a box of bunch of different crap. You need to get it, everything. You need to empty it. You need to take it out in order to find that one gold idea where everything flows together. And you're like, oh, I had to go through this process of sitting for such long time and writing
Yeah.
very bad songs in order to get that one good song everybody have on their playlist, right?
Yeah.
So would I dwell on that time I spent in the studio where it like took 20, 30 hours, and
Hmm.
people will say, oh, you just wasted 30 hours. No, I actually spent 30 hours to find that one good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. And now you mentioned when we started that that you moved, that you're from Latvia and you moved to Canada, right?
Hmm.
Tell me, like, what do you think? Let's say also that I want to make that, that I want to switch to another country. What advice do you think it's important for me to know for someone who wants to basically move to another totally different country, new language, new everything, in order to follow their career or my dream or something?
Now when I look back, I came to Canada when I was 20, not
Mm,
knowing anyone, not knowing English. I had $100 in my pocket, and it was really, really challenging. Like first
yeah.
3 years, it was absolutely brutal in every possible way, starting from getting a job, which I couldn't because I didn't have the language. I would go to ESL school every day, and at that time I didn't know that there were food banks, but I couldn't afford lunch, so I would eat like once a day in the evening or in the morning because I simply didn't have money, right? I would
Hmm.
wash floors or um, do like packaging work in the evening. And at that time, those jobs were for people with no documents or no language, and they were paying such a small amount of money that it barely covered my room rent. So I don't know. I don't know if there is actually an advice I could give, but to stay strong because every story is different.
Totally.
But a lot of my friends who are immigrants, they all have very tough stories, the stories you would hear and you're like, oh my God, that's the movie. Um, but they all came for a chance to have a better life, to
Yeah.
chase their dreams, to help their parents. So
Yeah.
that's why a lot of refugees, sometimes when you hear those horror stories of refugees drowning, and you think, oh my God, like you were willing to risk your life and your family life just for the chance of a
Yeah.
better life. So I don't know. I think it needs to be incredibly strong, or in my case, I was just incredibly ignorant and and naive. Because when I was coming here, I was like, oh, it's gonna work out. That's fine. It was just like being 20 years old, when you feel like
Yeah.
everything gonna work out. And it did. But now if somebody would tell me like, would you move now in my 30s, I would definitely say no. I
No.
don't have the energy, or yeah, like you become more realistic in your 30s.
Yeah. Although, yeah, I mean, I do think, yeah, I mean, let me just Um. Anyway, yeah, I got the thought now. So I do think that too. Back on your 20s would be good, but I do think that perhaps on moving on your late 20s, maybe the beginning of your 30s can also work because you're maybe like more mature at the same time.
Hmm.
And that you're more realistic. You know exactly what things that you can expect. Especially moving to a totally different country right now, but like leaving like knowing the fact that you're gonna leave your family and friends behind in order to pursue something. I mean, it's challenging, of course, but I do think that yeah, your 20s might be like the perfect age, but I do think that also in your 30s could be interesting. As I said, you're like more mature. You know
Yeah.
what what it could be like the limits on some stuff, and things like that. So yeah.
I would say if you have a job offer, it's always a
Oh
huge
yeah,
bonus.
absolutely, absolutely.
But when you come and you don't have money and you need to survive, and at that point, again, I didn't know that Canada provides so much support, that
Yeah.
there were food banks, that there were
Yeah.
shelters, that there were help available. I didn't know that. I didn't know any of that because I didn't speak English, right? I couldn't
Yeah.
even Google, right? And I didn't know many people. So now, if I would do it again, I would not go through this nightmare of like eating once a day,
Mm.
knowing that I could go somewhere and eat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but I do think that those type of experiences, besides building tough skin, it always
Hmm.
makes you like more humble. Meaning that one day when you manage to buy your own food, it tastes different, right? I mean, it tastes so much better, and yeah, you're actually humble about that because you live the other side. You know what I mean? That, for example, we sometimes see, right, how people either will waste food or things like that, but once you experience what it is to not even to have only one meal for the whole day, or sometimes you perhaps you're not gonna eat anything and just drink water or things like that, like once you
Hmm.
live through those experiences, you get the chance to really appreciate food, you know what I mean, and you really appreciate like those even like those small things in life, like those small victories, let's say. They taste
Yeah,
amazing because now you understand how how lucky at the same time you are for having either, I mean, on this case that we're talking about food, I mean, like how lucky you are of having a plate now that you can eat, you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. And even today we have a joke between our friends because every time we get together to cook a meal, I would, for example, have a like half dying cucumber in my fridge, and I would always cut it in a salad. And all my friends are like, okay, it's gonna taste sour. It's like dying, threw it out. And I can't. And they always joke that I have a poor kid syndrome, that
Yeah.
like no food should be wasted. And till today, you're absolutely right. I'm the same way. I don't want to waste food. I would always find a way to like cook or cook unless like it really goes bad, and always think in a grocery store like, will I be able to finish it before I have to fly or go somewhere?
Hmm.
I'm very careful. I hate wasting food only because I didn't have much food when I was growing up, and I didn't have much food when I was here in Canada. So I don't know, it breaks my heart if I need to throw out something.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely makes sense. I mean, I do agree on that. I yeah, like those type of things, you're like you can't throw it away. My brother is the same. He likes to throw food, like literally,
Hmm.
and I'm the opposite. So we constant argue because like whenever he yeah, we will be on our parents' house. He will check up the
Yeah,
fridge, and if he thinks something is rotten, he's about to throw it away, and I'm like, no, 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 wait, we can actually use this for something else, things like that. So
exactly. Yeah.
that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Now, yeah, like moving on here, like what motivates you? We all have those days, right? that we just want to quit. So how you manage to silence those toxic thoughts and to be back again on this journey that you have built for so many years now.
I always try to remind myself that the thoughts I have, especially the critical thoughts,
Yeah,
they're not me, and they're not there to serve me or to help me. They're there to protect me. It's like a part of your analytical mind that
yeah,
wants to always save you, right? It wants to protect you. It's a fight and flight response, right? To
mm-hmm.
protect you if you're going anywhere. And but it's not you. It's the part of you that wants to protect you. And the way it protects you, it comes up with all kinds of stories to prevent you from disappointment, from hurt, from actually trying, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And of course, I have those doubts. And especially sometimes when you're on hold for a role, it means you're like so close and it's between you and another person, and they end up choosing another person, right? And then
yeah,
your brain just keeps going, you're not good enough, what's wrong, should have you done this self-tape differently, why did you smile at producer during the callback, and you start going on and on and on, and you can go crazy, right? And I just stop myself and I'm like, it's not me. Okay, cool. It's you. It's like my alternative Olga, but you can talk how much you want, but tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna do it all over again because that's what I love and that's my career path. And it's just a little bum, and I'm just gonna eat my favorite piece of cake and
yeah.
try and try to remind myself that though that little voice, it's not me.
There you go. And like my last question here is, what can we expect from Olga in the future?
Well, currently I'm working on many new songs. So in 2023, I'm hoping to release at least one new EP and several singles.
Yeah,
I collaborated with three different DJs in Europe, which names I'm not gonna name yet.
yeah, don't mention it.
We're still yeah, we're still in a finishing the projects with them. So I'm very excited. This is my first experience with electronic music. Um, in terms of movies, I'm still in a constant audition. I have a movie shooting in a summer, which is a long wait. But I'm very excited about that because it's going to be another lead role. So I'm actively preparing for this movie for the summer, and also focusing a lot on writing and spending time with my son because I've been shooting so much stuff last year
Yeah,
and music and projects and collaboration that I feel super tired, and I also feel like I didn't spend enough time with my son, and he was always whether with my mom or my friends or with nannies. So I'm more on a chill mode right now.
yeah.
But all the upcoming projects, you can follow me on Instagram at Liva Music. Yeah, and I will be posting about all the upcoming projects and movies and songs there, so you won't miss it.
There you go. I mean, what can I say? It's incredible, your story. You should definitely make a movie at some point. That sounds, like the whole.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because like those type of stories, I mean, a lot. I mean, they're pretty motivational, and the fact that you made it happen. I mean, basically, you're starting from the bottom, and you managed to build little by little, and like regardless how difficult the situation might be sometimes. And I'm super sure there were moments in your life when you were about to, you know what, I'm done. I don't know what else to do. I'm done. But the fact that you managed to keep pushing forward and to
Mhm.
build something right now, which is actually working and is getting results. I mean, that's basically proof enough for everyone who has either listened to this or watching this that everything is possible. That it takes hard work, yes, and it's a pain in the butt, yes, of course, but
Yeah.
it's possible. And I think that's hope enough for everyone to be like, if she can do it, I can do it too. And I'm super sure that our next conversation is going to be about the thousands of songs that you have created, or the thousands of projects that you have been
That would be
involved with.
amazing.
That's going to happen for sure. I also want to thank those who watch this. Thank you so much. If you are also listening to it on Spotify or Apple Podcast, thank you so much as well. This episode is over. So what I'm about to do now is that on the description below is her link to her social media. So go follow her. Let's make her viral. Hashtag Team Olga. because she's incredible. And also,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much, Olga, for making this happen. Have an incredible upcoming weekend. Keep creating, keep inspiring, and yeah, keep doing what you do, because I find that super inspirational, and we need more people
Thank you.
like you who show us that everything's possible. All right.
It is.
All
Thank you so
right.
much. Thank you for having me, Daniel.
Not a problem. I'll see you in the next one.